Well, you can get the feeling that many in the oil industry are feeling a little like Custer, no matter where they look. Someone has an arrow at their head, including by next guest, Pete Obermueller, the Petroleum Association of Wyoming president. And he has a separate conundrum to deal with: the federal government's push to limit, if not right, just prevent gas sales, permit sales, holding leases, and the rest into the third quarter of this year. So explain a little bit where things stand on this push right now. You're saying the government reneged on this or just has stopped offering it altogether?
Yeah, good afternoon, Neil. Thanks so much for having me. Good to see you. Look, the federal government owns vast resources, particularly in the West. 30 billion barrels of oil, 230 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, technically recoverable resources that the federal government owns. But there's only one path to get it, and that's leasing through the federal government. So Congress said many years ago in the Mineral Leasing Act that the federal government should lease at least 4 times a year so that we can explore for and access this resource. But the Biden administration has only done it once in its 2-year administration, and we simply can't abide that. So we've gone to court to try to make sure that they follow this law and that we can explore for the resources that can help bring gas prices down, like your previous interview suggested.
You know, Pete, I'm just curious, and many in your industry, I'm sure, feel that they do have arrow marks on their head here, and that they are being chased, and that this administration has already made it clear that fossil fuels are just not going to be tolerated beyond the next few years. So I can well understand the industry's concern about committing too much dough to something that the government itself might make passé. So what do you do?
It's frustrating to say the least. I mean, look, you've got an administration that's going hand in hand to other countries, very unfriendly countries, very repressive countries like Venezuela, to try to prop up oil supply so that they can deal with issues like home heating and gas prices and all of that. And meanwhile, here in Wyoming, in the 44th state in the union, we've had this resource. And you would think, nobody expects that there's an easy solution to this particular energy crunch we're in. But you would expect our own government to move heaven and earth to at least be a partner in trying to use domestic resources, domestic companies, Wyoming workers to produce this resource. So it's pretty frustrating for us. And look, we just push through the headwinds. We know how to do it. We do it well. We do it in a very environmentally friendly way. And we wish that we had more of a partner, the federal government.
Well, now you have Senate under firm Democratic control. So I don't see things changing rapidly, do you?
I don't see it changing rapidly, and unfortunately, Congress doesn't really have much of a say anymore in terms of what the Department of Interior does on all these leases and permits and all of that. So much happens through the bureaucratic process at DOI that Congress and Wyoming's delegation and others can write terse letters and those sorts of things. But all of the action happens at the agency, and that's why we spend so much time trying to work with them. But if we can't work with them, then we have to go to court to try to protect Wyoming's rights and work on behalf of the 12,000 people in Wyoming who work in this industry.
Well, Pete, if you can do me a favor and keep us up to date on this, it's intriguing a lot of our viewers, to put it mildly. Pete Obermueller is the Petroleum Association of Wyoming